Alright, so now we've got the truck 6 inches up. We've got 35-inch tires that are sticking out from that truck. So what we're going to do next is we're going to outfit this truck with some pocket-style fender flares from Bushwacker. It's going to do a few things. Number one is going to protect that truck from any kind of mud and debris that these new tires can sling up on it, so you don't look like you go through a mud bath every time you hit a mud puddle. Also, those fender flares are going to give you some extra flair and some extra muscle on your truck as you're driving down the road. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're going to install these Bushwacker pocket style fender flares on this 2012 Ford F-150. Now we've already installed all of our Torx bolts. We had a provided T45 Torx bit so we could hold those still while we used a 1/2-inch socket to tighten those lock nuts down. We also installed the rubber fender trim right around the fender flare to protect the paint from the vibrating plastic. Let's go ahead and install the flare onto the truck. Now this is not the flare, this is the inner piece that the flare is going to attach to. Now you've got 3 holes from the factory that this inner piece will attach to. One of them does not have a screw in it, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this provided U-clip and we're going to clip it over top of that hole to where we have a thread behind that hole. And we're also going to remove the 2 screws that are held in over here from the factory, so we have screws to throw through here. So we're going to do that right now. Now Bushwacker is going to provide us with a Phillips head screw to put into that clip nut that's up in here. Then we have the 7/32 screws to go back in to the factory locations. Now that we've got the inner piece installed, we're going to move down here and we'll remove one more 7/32 screw from the fender well. Next, we're going to go ahead and line up the fender flare to those holes. Once the holes are lined up, we're going to go ahead and reinsert the 7/32 screw from the factory back into its original hole. Now once we've got all the holes lined up for the fender flare, we're going to use this front hole as a guide to drill a 1/4 inch hole in the plastic bumper cover from the factory, so we can insert these retainers that Bushwacker supplied, and then we'll insert a plastic screw and tighten that down with a Phillips head screwdriver. We can also then insert the other 3 plastic retainers into their holes. Now going to the back wheel flare, what we're going to do is we're going to remove these 2 10mm bolts that they're from the factory. Next we're going to set the flare, hold it in place where each one of these holes is located. We're going to mark those with a grease pencil so we can then take this protective film and wrap it around the sheet metal on that fender well. Now we're going to take these long U-clips and we're going to slip right over top of where these protective film pieces are. Next, we're going to go ahead and set the flare in place. We're going to reinstall the 10mm bolts that came out from the factory. Next, we're going to do our final adjustments and line up those holes in the clips with the holes in the fender flare and use the provided Phillips head screws, go through and tighten them down. Well, that concludes the installation of the pocket-style fender flares from Bushwacker on this 2012 Ford F-150. If you have any questions, call the experts. We're here to help you out.